Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the second race in the 2022 NRSL Jerky Pro Truck Series. We are here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for 52 laps of action, and on the pole is your defending Truck Series champion, Audra Baranowskis. It is her sixth career pole. That is a record-breaking mark, tied with James Ellison and a couple of other drivers. And Donovan Cage starts to her outside. I'm joined by Vince Freeze in the booth as we get ready for what is sure to be a great race.
Zach, we are in the backyard of Coca-Cola, and these front row contenders remind me of original Coca-Cola and Audra and Coke Zero Sugar. Which is the better Coca-Cola tonight? We'll find out. But really not realistic. This is going to be a good race. High tire where we got a lot of rookies up there that don't know what they're doing in the later stages as runs. Should be an interesting comers and goers type race, and my favorite, ebbs and flows.
Yes, indeed. And with this track having a multi-groove, it's kind of got a super speedway personality to it, but with the heavy tire wear, we'll see these trucks get up to about 3.5 to 4 seconds off on tire wear, so sure to be an interesting race. Row 2 is Henry Sandfer and Ron Bishop. Henry won here back in 2019. Row 3, Brandon Mayhew. He was fastest in practice, and Will Parrish. Row 4, Pat Johnson and Mitchell Collins. And in row 5 is Dylan Ibrahimian and Jack James. Vince, go over the rest of those past winners for me.
Sure, 2017 and 2018, both in Fords. We got the 29 truck of Dylan Young. 2019, Henry Sanford claimed the Hot Atlanta mile and a half. And 2020, we had James Ellison. 2021, Charles Sandfer. He's not in the field, and with no leeches, we should have an interesting winner, I think, today. And one other thing to note before we get it going, we'll have a field window. We'll talk about all that. This race, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Zach's a little bit shorter than the usual Atlanta races, only 52 laps. Usually it's in the 60s, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see how that little shorter distance plays into this game.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many laps last year's race was. It probably was 67, but they went shorter for this year, so it's going to be a definite one stop. They can make it 31 to 34 laps, but they're probably going to want to pick closer to lap 27. So likely an undercut is going to get you the win here today. But with draft and the truck series, an undercut isn't always the way to go. Let's go trackside.
Drivers, start your engines!
So, as we were going through the starting lineup there, some of you guys probably saw a couple of veteran drivers down in the dumps, including Yael Carrillo, Gene Sandfer, and there was one other person back there, Max Anderson in the 88. So those three were gonna have their work cut out for them, Vince, but they've been around. They should have a pretty good idea how to get around this racetrack.
Yeah, and I think one of these things about Atlanta, you just see how old this track is with the pavement. I think it's still going to be these front two, just the way these. Well, we know what Audra and Cage bring, but we want to maybe see a surprise. I think D-Line's up there. Maybe Will Parrish, he's got that second year. Maybe he'll understand with the Talladega win last year out of draft in the early stages. But I think veterans, like you said, should come to the front. And it should be a pitch strategy, barring no yellow type event today here in Atlanta.
Baranowskis comes into this race tied with Donovan Cage and Charles Sandfer for 6 wins all time. We'll see if one of them can break through to 7 here today. Audra is also chasing 30 career top 10s, a mark held only by James Ellison. She has 29 coming into this race. Henry Sandfer right behind her has 28. We are green from Georgia. Saw the 45 there of Blaine Saylor making it 3 wide already, and they are already spreading it around the track. Henry Sandfer will be the first to make a move on Baranowskis for the race lead.
Donovan Cage slipping back. Now, what do you do here if you're Audra? Let's see what this top line does in 3 and 4. Yeah, it starts to carry just a little bit.
I believe Audra there will just edge out to lead lap 1. Brandon Mayhew was fastest in practice. That's Audra's rookie teammate. He's looking to make a move for the lead, but he backs out of it now. Henry looking to take it. Cage looking to the outside. Thought about going to the outside of Baranowskis to make it 3 wide, but sticks in line.
Bishop pushing Cage. Looks like Sandfer's going to. There's Cage. Cage going to be put to the top side. Here comes Mayhew, Pat Johnson, Delon for 4 wide.
Delon is thinking about the 4 wide, but he doesn't quite have the edge there off of turn number 4. See a couple of trucks riding the apron there, riding that paint line, Vince, trying to get into the corner as low as possible. And it's going to be Henry Sandfer clearing Baranowskis for the race lead. They are 3 by 3 behind them.
Paint group sometimes can get you maybe half a tenth, depending on how long the run is. You see Mayhew looks like slipped up a little bit. That's going to give a run to Ron Bishop and Pat in the middle line. Sandfer's going to block that. What does Audra do underneath?
Audra's going to jump to the bottom in front of her teammate of Mayhew. Henry can't quite get down there, the block. That opens the door for Donovan Cage on the outside, but once again, Cage blocked up on the top side.
Sandfer's still leading. Audra's still got some help on the low line. Sandfer's going to block all 3. Oh, and a really stack it up there. Donovan Cage on the outside gets a nice run, and we're 3 wide into 4.
And right now, it looks like Cage now finally clears through on the top, and he will clear Henry Sandfer. Well, not clear just yet, but he had the lead there at the line. Henry tried to pull down in front of Baranowskis. He has to do a little bit of a wiggle there into the corner, but he holds on, and now it's the top 2 breaking away as Audra checks up on the inside line.
Sandfer Cage on his little side trap. Who's going to break out for 30 seconds? Trying to check up in the 3-4 center. Audra has a nice run. I think that inside line is going to start fading, Zach. We're 6 laps in. This is when things are going to start getting intense as the tires hit peak, and then from there it's a cliff.
Yes, indeed, we see some other veterans up there on the outside line, such as Mitchell Collins, Jack James. You've got Sam Young there in the middle, Ibrahimian on the bottom. There's Daniel Brown in the 48. That's Ellison's protege replacement there. Doing pretty good at a track Ellison won at back in 2020, as we are going to go 4 wide once again.
Who rose a 4 wide? Got some more 4 wide back there. I think someone's got a lift though. Mayhew maybe? Pat? Is that paint grip?
Nobody's gonna lift. Still 4 wide. I think that this 4 wide occurred because Jack James went to the inside of Mitchell Collins. They are making it work. This is quite the sight to see here at a track like Atlanta Motor Speedway. You wouldn't think this would happen here. Pat Johnson is currently the one probably in the tightest situation. Donovan Cage is cleared for the race lead.
Again, going on a run.
And now it's 4 wide there with Bishop and Parrish for a second, but now James and Collins get the run. Once again on the outside of Pat Johnson, still 4 wide. And they seem to be doing a pretty good job of holding things together for now.
They're doing 3 and 4. Should be a little stack up there. Yep, there it is from Ron Bishop. A little bit, not much. Pat's still bouncing off there like a pinball. D-line might be going to try to follow his teammate, but that will get in a 4 wide situation possibly.
Oh, and
like Mayhew backs off.
Mayhew finally backed off, but now Ibrahimian's in the middle of a 4 wide situation with Ribbleton to his outside. Also got Mason Dagger up there. And can Ibrahimian jump in front of his other teammate, Sam Young? Yes, he can. So the 4 wide settled out. Henry Sandfer has taken the lead back. Cage not willing to give it up just yet. He's fighting back. Meanwhile, you got rookies in the top 5. Ron Bishop. Now you got Pat Johnson there on the bottom. Baranowskis has made it up to the middle groove. And 10 laps into this run, Vince, we're seeing about 6/10 of fall off. Expect this pack to start to thin out. And we should see the veteran drivers start to move towards the front. Right now, you got a couple stragglers there at the back of the field, just kind of keeping their distance.
This is great racing, man. These trucks always produce at Atlanta in the first 10, 15 laps of this stalemate for the lead. It's like Sandfer should have it, but with the Cage, we'll fight back a little bit, but it'll be just short.
Fastest lap on the day goes to Roger James with a 30.419 so far. The 74 truck is currently showing in 29th place, right at the back of the pack. You see Lane Sanders in 42nd right now. Max Anderson has gone nowhere. He's in 40th. Hunter Braxton, last week's pole sitter, in 35th. Look at the move and run by Ron Bishop. Enzo Nereza, our winner last week, is in 33rd. As the ticker is going to take a little time here to update. As now we're 3 wide for the lead, and yes, indeed, more 4 wide. Cage holds off the move from Ron Bishop, but now you've got Jack James Mayhew tried to pinch up into Johnson. They're actually 4x4. Well, Blaine Saylor, Hayes Green on the inside line. Another pair of rookies there. Brad Lewis on the bottom. Baranowskis is on the cusp of being put 4 wide herself. When you see Pat and Ribbleton really had to check up there. Baranowskis wants to get out of this Hornet's Nest as fast as possible. They are 4x4 almost now. I still can't believe they haven't wrecked because of this.
Pretty incredible racing right there, but every single competitor today. As it's still Cage and Sandfer at a stalemate, using a little side draft. Maybe you see a yell back there. I saw him peeking as a veteran trying to get back up.
Jack James gets out of a 4 wide situation. That leaves it between Ribbleton and Dagger. See the teammates of Nereza and Braxton back there at the back of the pack, kind of giving a little side draft to each other. We got Joshua Johnson, Bradley Ream on the inside line, Scott Roush, Jessica Strauss. As Benjamin Isa in the 93, Vince, he was riding the top a little bit earlier, and he has made it to the middle line and inside the top 10.
A little bit of veteran experience. I think we're starting to settle it out now. I think that tire will start to kick in because it's starting to be back to 3 wide, which is normal for this race's standards. You see Dom and Cage underneath.
And Cage and Henry Sandfer have been at it pretty much the entire race since they got by Baranowskis. Ron Bishop's been right there in third, as now Audra maybe trying to save her stuff a little bit there early in the go, and she is looking to maybe put a fight back to the top 2, as Jack James and Benjamin Ice look to come out from the middle of the pack.
And one of the great things about Atlanta is you don't have to go hardcore in the early stages. Sometimes being a little slow in the beginning means you can save tire, but also save your brakes and save a little bit of that side draft and learn from the middle of the pack. As you can see, Cage will back off, and now it's Ron Bishop solely in third.
Mayhew had a big check up there on the inside line. That stacked up a bit of the pack, as we've got a bunch of 4 wide action going on now. That's Ibrahimian and Roy Ribbleton there in the middle. 2 more trucks behind them. So now you're starting to see Ron Bishop fade a bit, even though he's on the outside line.
Oh yeah, rookie experience. Unfortunately, no experience is coming in, as you see. Yeah, I think it's, believe it or not, Zach, I think we're starting to see the folding as we did in Daytona. People are starting to go to the outside lane. I want to see those veterans coming real quick.
Want to make a quick jump to the back of the field. Got Austin Tyler, Cody Magrick back here. Lane Sanders struggling despite a year of Cup experience. Winnie Calhoun, Jack Holton, Morris Reeves, Max Anderson with 2 years of experience is in 36th. Last week's winner in the Reza right at the back of his pack. Also got Owen Miles back here. Daniel Brown we saw on the inside line earlier near the front. He has faded. Gael has made it a little bit forward from where he started. He's into the top 30 now. Ibrahimian has really fallen like a rock. Catano has gone nowhere. Jean Sandfer started in the final row, and she has made it up to 22nd. The Sanfers know their way around Atlanta, Vince.
Yeah.
But they are still 4 wide here, going crazy.
Terminator really taught his siblings well, but man, this is incredible. I've never seen so much 4 wide, and we kept it clean. It is a little bit different than Daytona, though, where you can make it work here. But I guess the tire where it does play an advantage, where it's not all equal speeds. There's different ways to get into the corner. There's different entry and arc speeds. Versus Daytona, it's one line. As you see, everyone's starting to fizzle out. That top 10 battle should be interesting, though, as we start to see a 6th truck breakaway at the front.
Yeah, they're starting to thin it out in front here. Got Chris White, a rookie, still up here. Oh, Joshua Johnson's going to make it 4 wide on Hayes Green. Now it's 3 rows of 4 wide. See how this works. They're doing a great job of just making this work, but I fear that this could get disastrous when it comes time for pit stops, if they are still racing like this.
Yeah, we're 6 laps away. As you see, the front is still. Look at Ron Bishop, man. How about that for a rookie? Holding off Audrey.
Still in the top 5. He's also got Mitchell Collins, a second-year driver, closing up, and then Benjamin Ice and Jack James, some more experienced drivers on his tail. Got to give a hand to Mitchell Collins for this run, being in only his second season of competition. Looking at what could be a top 5 run, definitely looking at a good top 10 chance here today.
Yeah, it's getting scarier back there. I think green flag pit stops could be a problem, as you see Sandfer Cage, just like that for the start of the race.
2 seconds of fall off now on the racetrack, but these two are just continuously going at it, and you really got to wonder. We saw, I think, Henry on the top at one point. Now Henry's on the bottom. You got to wonder how Audra's doing with her tires compared to these two. And I think the pit strategy is really going to come into play here, Vince, because right now it really looks like any of these drivers at the front could win this thing.
Yeah, we'll see what pit crews, the pit crew's actual timing of the stops can matter. But right now, I think if I don't know, I wouldn't want to be in that hornet's nest. I think I would want to be where Ron Bishop is, have that clear entry to pit road. But we'll see. You see Mayhew back there, Pat. I don't know, they're battling out. But now let's look and see what Sandfer does. Yeah, just loses a little bit. Audra holds off there for a second. Mitchell Collins on the outside.
Mitchell Collins is looking at taking 3rd place here from Baranowskis, and he is going to do just that. Audra will jump up in front of Benjamin Ice. See Bishop starting to fade on the inside line. Audra goes all the way to the top, and she will just get alongside Mitchell Collins there. What a mid-corner move. Nope, never mind. She checked up for the 14. Starting to see Max Anderson make some headway there in the back of the field. He was nowhere close to the pack before. Now he is closing it in, as they still got a little bit of 4 wide going on here.
Yeah, Carrillo's in that hornet's nest back there. He does not need that perennial, not least top 5 threat at the points of preseason. Let's see what he can do. As once again, it's Cage Sandfer up front, but they're definitely pushing her luck here on this run.
And Carrillo with a 6th place result from Daytona. Highest of the veterans behind Nereza and Donovan Cage. So they continue to thin it out. Sam Young up into the top 10. Parrish now sitting just outside the top 10. How about Lucas Catano? Look at Gene Sandfer, Vince, all the way up to the top 15 now. After starting 41st, she has rode the top side to get where she is. Lucas Catano, we saw him struggling earlier. Now he's on the top. I see Ibrahimian has finally moved to the top. Carrillo right behind them. A lot of veteran drivers moving to the top just to try and ride the wall to the front.
That's the way to go. A little rim riding, man. That's what it's all about here in Atlanta. Eventually those tires wear off. Rim riding is the way to go, but that's not going to matter because you're up in the top. It'll be hard to get in pit lane. They were getting close to that money stop.
And they are right. They are past halfway, actually. They're at lap 26 last time by, coming to lap 27 now. So looking like if you are at the front and you pit now, you're looking pretty good. So I saw a bit of a gap. That is just a natural gap. So they are starting the gap at the back of the pack as well as the front. So that's making for quite the interesting picture here. See Nereza, the only non-rookie driver back there. Lane Sanders, a rookie, yes, but with a year Cup experience. And it's just Cage and Henry, Vince, continuously side by side.
I don't know if it'll be pit stops for these guys that win the race. I think these two are the only two I could say that have the best trucks. Could be a mono duel, we'll see. But right now, I think I have to give the edge to Sandfer on the first run, but Cage, he's that wily old vet as we see some blocking back there.
Cage is gonna clear Henry into the corner, but Henry will duck back even lower to get back underneath him. Audra clears for 3rd. She's still under pressure from Mitchell Collins and Ron Bishop, who have done an amazing job of staying up here in the top 5. Now you got Jack James, Sam Young, Benjamin Ice, and Gene Sandfer has cracked the top 10, Vince, after starting 41st.
What do we say? Just that experience and sometimes time. Being patient with these rookies mainly and letting those tires wear off. That's where the veteran comes in with edge grip and knowing where to place the truck. As you see, it looks like Sandfer still has the edge on Cage, and no one's pitting. I think this is the good time to pit if you're like a Ron Bishop with the rookie. What you got to lose?
And lap 30 complete, 22 laps to go. And remember, Vince, now the longer you stay out at this point, the less time you're going to have to use those fresher tires. The cliff doesn't really kick in until I want to say around 12 laps or so. So you're looking at half of the remaining race to wait for them fresher tires to really come into play. As you mentioned, Henry cleared Cage that last time by at the line. Now Cage getting a bit of a run back on the outside. Collins to the outside of Baranowskis as we see Ron Bishop lose 5th to Jack James. Roger James has closed up. He is now top 10. Taking a position away from Brandon Mayhew, I believe it was. Lucas Catano now up to 11th. As you see Ibrahimium and Carrillo just on the edge there. I also see Max Anderson, who has made his way through the pack. And I think we got pitters, Vince.
There it is, Sandfer.
Henry Sandfer is going to be the first one down. No, Cage with a late pit. What a move by Cage. Rode the track a little longer.
Oh, we had some earlier ones.
Ice Catano. Other notable names there coming in. Christian Russell had already come down the pit lane. That gave the lead to Mitchell Collins. Now, who comes in on lap 33? It looks like Jack James will come in. A lot of drivers coming in. Some drivers are jumping to the apron early. Audra jumps down early. Roger James is going to be allowed to get down, as is Brad Lewis. Oh, and Sam Young just got spun on the apron.
Oh,
Gets
no.
in the Ibrahimium, no yellow.
That's a rip for Penske right there. They were having good runs, and now it looks to be over. As you see, a lot more. Yeah, definitely coming in hot lane. Sanders back there. See what happens on pit exit.
Benjamin Ice. Henry Sandfer lost a ton of time to Donovan Cage. Even lost a couple positions, so terrible pit stop for the 87. Morris Reeves, the only driver to stay out, and man, if a caution had come out there for Sam Young on the apron, he'd be sitting pretty right now. He's going to bring it in this time by on his own. Cage is out for the races. Ice in second, Vidal third. Russell gets all the way up to 4th for his undercut. You see Catano, Ribbleton, Owen Miles, and others in the distance, so the undercut was definitely a good way to go. There's Baranowskis. Gene Sandfer, Roger James, Jack James. And that is the rest of the field. There's Morris Reeves finishing his stop. Sam Young will go from top 10 to almost last for fixing his damage. Bradley Ream with a terrible stop. Carrillo, Max Anderson down in the dumps now. Ibrahimium did not lose as many positions. Mitchell Collins lost a good amount of positions. Down to 24th. So pit road. Jumbling up the field. You see Bishop down to 21st. Audra fell all the way to 20th. So all those undercutters, Vince, I think pretty much jumped everyone. So Gene Sandfer 14th. Katana with a huge run on Jack James there. And Christian Russell got all the way up to what will be 6th at the moment. We'll see how far he dips here. He's got the oldest tires out of everybody. PJ Vidal has actually passed Benjamin Ice. Henry Sandfer still top 5. But it's a 2.5 second gap to Donovan Cage.
What can you say? The intermediate intimidator, as I like to call him, man. He knows his way around, but if I'm Donovan Cage, he's going to catch a lap here, which is not the worst thing if he can draft and save the tires a little bit shallow on entry and don't get that long run pace and dial it in for a win if he keeps it going.
Well, he pulled away from PJ Vidal that lap about 0.2 of a second. Sam Young is out here with some damage. We'll have to take a look after the race to see what exactly caused that spin. We saw him getting turned. Couldn't really tell who turned him. It was bound to happen, though, I think, Vince. I was kind of hoping it didn't happen, but I had a feeling like, all the crazy four-wide racing we saw, if they were still clumped together like that, you know, odds were we were going to have some kind of contact coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, and I think this is the problem with Atlanta sometimes. When you had with truck series, if you had that, you said that four wide racing, but the inexperience getting out pit lane, knowing when to brake, knowing when to accelerate, it causes a stack up. And Donovan Cage definitely, man, if you're looking at the point situation with Audra, that's a big leg up as he continues to hamper those fast laps and hammer home.
Now let's find Audra. Where is she now? She is up to 19th. She's got a group of drivers in front of her. Now remember, she did stay out a lap, so she's got the fresher tires on as an advantage. She's got all rookies in front of her right now. If she can get by them, that would put her up to 16th, and then it's a 3-second gap. So I don't know if she's going to get any better than 16th, Vince. It's not looking good for her in that regard. Daniel Brown, what a run, man. I don't know if it was the pit strategy or what, but he is in 15th place. Brad Lewis, Reggie Fogelman was down in the dumps. I think he undercut. He's up to 13th because of that. You see Christian Russell, it looks like not going to last too long inside the top 10. He's already down to 10th. Now racing Benjamin Ice. Ice came out second in the pit lane, Vince, but he is down to almost 10th now. As these drivers are really getting racy here. You've got Catano, Gene Sandfer, Jack James, Henry Sandfer, Will Parrish, all those guys with at least a year of experience. We know Henry, Catano, and Jack James have way more. But Roger James and PJ Vidal are doing a pretty good job up here racing these guys, but they have started to close the gap on Donovan Cage.
Man, yeah, it's definitely similar to Daytona, Talladega, where you don't want to be the leader, but it's early in the run. Give it a couple of laps. Let's say lap 46. I think Donovan Cage should start to use that vet experience. Even though the gap's coming down, I think he'll know what to do. But man, you got to say it. Vidal and Parrish, they're doing a good job.
Thinking of who pit, Vince, I believe the 13 and... I'm trying to think. It was the 13, the 21, and I want to say... I cannot... It was a rookie, I think. Oh, Mitchell Collins was up there too, but he fell way back. The 13 might have a really good chance at maybe winning this race. I think the 8 stayed out too. I'm not really certain, but they are in the draft wake now at 10 to go, Vince.
I still think it's Donovan Cage that's going to lose, but they are starting to catch up. As my screen is blurry, which is all good. I think it's just part of the process here. If you're the Sanfers, you work together and maybe try to go for a 2-for-1 overtake. I say go one high, one low, and put Cage in the middle. We'll see what happens as the gap is now done.
Parrish jumped right to the top of the racetrack there, trying to get a run on the outside. Gets nothing. Henry Sandfer with a better run in the middle. As Roger James fades on the bottom, Henry's going to look to the inside of his sister here, right as they catch Donovan Cage. So we know catching was one thing because they had the draft. They're going to have a huge run here. Jean's got a huge run here. Going down the front, she'll look to the inside of Cage in the turn one. Now remember, Cage was side by side with Henry Sandfer pretty much the entire first stint.
Yeah, imagine if you're Donovan Cage, your point of view, fighting off 2 Terminator siblings. I mean, that's tough right there. But Will Parrish is coming as well. Jack James, I think Jack James, like you said, that might be the one to watch. If he pushes past third, I think he could be the only threat to Cage. I just think Sandfer need a little more help. I think you'll see a little bit of bottom out right there. Man, this is too close to call. I think we might need to get we'll have to see who's better. Say 3 and 4 to go. But I think Donovan Cage right here, just keep it up top. You're going to get some draft right here. With Jack James, he's going to stay behind Parrish. So we go down this backstretch view. Seeing the 3 here. Cage is a little bit more aggressive in the center of the corner, I've noticed, but Sandfer holds the line there. Now Cage will get it back on exit. Parrish is coming a little help by 3. I think Donovan Cage will lead this lap by about a half a tenth? Less than a half a tenth.
6 laps to go. Only Sam Young in front of them, but they are not closing on him quite. Cage now still holding even on the top. See, Vince, the second they got him, Jean went to the inside, probably should have gone to the top. I think she could have gone right by him. if she had just rode that momentum another lap along the wall. But now you've got Jack James, Will Parrish, and Henry Sandfer 3 wide behind you. Then you've got Vidal, Roger James, and Lucas Catano. And then Brad Lewis and Roy Rippleton round out the top 10. So definitely more rookies in the top 10 than I expected for this race. You've got two in total. So yeah, I didn't expect any rookies to be top 10 in this race. They're going to catch Sam Young. I think here right at the end, his draft is going to play a role. Now Jack James right behind Cage. Remember, mentioned he pit a lap later. That could play to his hand. James with just one career win. We saw him get it last year at Bristol Dirt. Looking for career win number 2 now.
If I'm Jack James, I still stay patient, believe it or not. You have to find a way to work with Cage and get on the outside line. You're not going to win this race from the bottom, I don't think. You have to get to the end. You see he starts to fade back a little bit. Maybe timing a draft run with help from the other Sandfer.
And Henry is going to actually peek to the outside of Jack James here. That's going to put the 13 down. 13's actually going to jump 3 wide for the race lead. Going down the front straightaway. That's going to put Cage all the way to the top. Henry's going to go with the 6. James has to check up. He's got nothing going. But now Gene really getting close to the door of Donovan Cage. Practically even there off of turn 2. It'll be 2 to go next time by at the start-finish line. Henry Sandfer running in the line of the 6. Now Roger James is looking to go to his outside, but nothing going there. PJ Vidal and Lucas Catano have fallen off. 2 laps to go. Cage clears Gene Sandfer.
There it is. Now the experience for Donovan Cage starts to come in as you see Sandfer clips it. Now Sam Young could be a big part in this. You may not catch him, but that draft is all you're looking for.
Gene got good exit there off of turn 2 right on the bottom. Closing up now along the door of Cage. But Cage still has help from Henry Sandfer, who is now under attack from Jack James. And James looks like he's got an edge on the inside line. White flag is out. 1 more lap to go at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Give the edge to Gene Sandfer at the start-finish line.
All going to come down to turn 1 2. Nope, Sandfer has a good exit. But look at Cage. Cage on exit.
Could we see another photo finish, Vince? We saw one just a week ago at Daytona.
Jack James goes up high. Now
Cage
Sandfer
clears.
on the bottom.
Cage clears Gene Sandfer. Can she get anything to bite in the middle? She's looking. Off of turn 4, though, not gonna be enough. Give the win to Donovan Cage. He's the first one to 7 career wins in the NRSL Jerky Pro Truck Series.
Don Cage, how about that? Going to the slot machine, playing some 7s tonight. But no, great job there by Donovan Cage. Man, never cracked under pressure. Used the lines, used the draft, and most importantly, put Gene in a tough spot to use the bottom and that paint grip to make a move. And how about Jack James on that last lap, giving him a little assistance to get the W.
Gene Sandfer will come home in 2nd. Jack James 3rd. Henry Sandfer 4th. With Audra Baranowskis failing to finish inside the top 10. That puts Henry tied with Audra. 2nd all-time in career top 10s at 29 apiece. So Donovan Cage beat Audra to 7 wins. Could Henry Sandfer beat Audra to 31 career top 10s? We'll see. Well, 2 races to go, maybe, to see if that happens. Roger James, 5th place finish. I believe that's his first career top 5. I want to say, yes, he finished 7th last week at Daytona. So first career top 10 in his first race. Now first career top 5 in his second race. So Roger James, best rookie so far on the start of this year. Will Parrish with a 6th. That's his 2nd straight top 10 to start the year. PJ Vidal 7th, Lucas Catano 8th, Brad Lewis 9th, and Roy Rippleton rounds out the top 10. Baranowskis got it up to 14th place. Benjamin Ice 18th. Man, Benjamin just fell off a cliff after that pit stop despite the undercut. Mitchell Collins 22nd, Max Anderson 27th, Ibrahimian 28th, DeLello 30th, Carrillo 33rd, Bradley Ream 37th, and of course Nareza and Sam Young round out the field. So Nareza wins the first race, and then he finishes almost last in the second race. So that'll do it for us here today at Atlanta. The Truck Series will be off next week. They will return on the 25th of this month at Auto Club, where we have seen a photo finish before. So we're 2 for 2 on finishes under a tenth of a second. We could see 3 in a row, Vince, at Auto Club. But then, of course, even if we do, that streak would definitely probably end because the 4th race of the season is a road course at Willow Springs. But you never know. Things tend to get crazy in the Jerky Pro Truck Series. Any last words for you here, Vince, today?
Well, Zach, I don't know if you're superstitious, but we have a 66 and a 6 winning the first 2 races.
Oh, oh man, I didn't even notice that. Oh, that's I think that might be that's either bad luck for both of them or just bad luck for Cage, because over his career, Cage seems to be either a top 5 or bust driver. So 2 for 2 to start the year with a win. He's looking really good in the championship. Audra, of course it's Daytona, but strategy just didn't work out here for her today. We'll have to see what she can do at Auto Club, because the defending champ, even if it takes her a few races, she will start knocking down some wins, I think. Just give her a little bit of time.
We're going to more skilled tracks. I think it'll happen. But no, it's been a great race. Great action as always in Atlanta. Gotta thank the draft right there. That kind of helped a lot. But let's get on the Cup tomorrow.
Heck yeah, man. We will see you guys for the Digital Storm Cup Series race tomorrow. 69 nice laps of action on tap. Almost forgot, ladies and gentlemen, we were going to take a look and see what happened to Sam Young entering pit road. He's behind the 1 of Ron Bishop and in front of the 8 of Gene Sandfer. And he is going to get a little bit of help. I'm not sure if this is because of some drivers making a late commitment. You see the 4 of Brad Lewis just flying up along the banking on the bottom. But right here, Gene tries to use the banking a little bit and just barely gets in the right rear of Sam Young, spins him out. And Brandon Mayhew is going to get tagged in a piece of this, and then Sam's teammate Ibrahimian, he had nowhere to go. But they kept it straight after that. I think if Ibrahimian had spun up the banking, it might have prompted a yellow flag. But Sam Young took the biggest hit out of it. He fell all the way down to 41st. Gene Sandfer got up there and got a second, and Ibrahimian finished about mid-pack. And that is now officially going to do it for us here at Atlanta. We will see you guys tomorrow for the Digital Storm Cup Series race.